Hey, you. In my series today about grief, I wanted to highlight something that I was told by my grief counselor, and this case, my friend who is a therapist, and then and he shared a lot with me, and I just wanted to bring it up to the picture. Going through grief after funeral, there are all these 5 stages of grief. You can Google them. Use ChatGPT or whatever, and it will tell you what they are. But I want to highlight something he told me that's very important, that's outside of all this. Now, before I say that, I just say I was biased on who I would want to go to counsel me because I felt the cultural differences were very strong, and I would not get the right support if I was looking for it. So I can say this: when I talked to him, Chris, um, when he told me, hey, I need to let's talk about this, and we called me for like 30 minutes, and he had an appointment for just 30 minutes, and he called me, and one of the things when he started talking, he talked about the brain, and he mentioned that the brain is a very interesting thing. The brain rarely wants to stay current. The brain always wants to think about the future and fantasize. That's why we say building castles in the clouds. Or it wants to reminisce of the good old days. And you hear people say, oh man, about the good old days. On the other hand, building castles. So you'll sit and say, man, I wish I had a horse, I would be riding on it. So the brain does not want to stay current. And when going through grief, the brain does not want to stay current. It wants to forget, and that's how someone will drown themselves with the addiction or remember the good times. And rarely you remember the traumatic days that you went through in in, uh, in during grief or in the past times with the last loved one. So he told me to be very. This is what he told me. He told me to be very intentional in staying present, to make sure that the brain is hacked in a manner that it stays present. So he told me the brain has keeps good thoughts, uh, neutral thoughts, and bad thoughts. So good thought is good memories are went and ate lunch with my dad somewhere. That's a good thought. The neutral thought is like we're just sitting there and nothing, just reading newspaper, nothing watching TV, not talking, nothing big about it. The bad memories is the trauma you're going through, or like somewhere there you get a discipline from your parent or whatever. And he told me this: when you start getting into those dark moments where you're like, I don't know why, like for me, I don't know why my dad got into an accident. I don't know why, when all these things were there, why he chose to do this. You now, when that thought is created, to be intentional, create good thoughts right there. And good thought would be like, start thinking about, oh wow, can I say this? Start thinking about there's a time I went somewhere and we were just sitting there chatting about, for example, geopolitical analysis of of the Far East, and that was a topic that just came out of our conversation. Dad and I talked about it. So I am checking the bad thought to a neutral thought, because who cares about geopolitical whatever of the East, uh, or who even talks about that with their parent? But just changing that, and that helps a lot in changing that. Or even just going for a walk. You have a bad day, you just get up for a go outside and go meet family, go meet friends, go for a good whatever, go listen to music somewhere. So you change that, and trying to stay intentional and staying present is putting things down and talking to people right there. You might want to shut down, but sometimes just talk. I used to talk to my kids a lot. I'll just talk to them. How are you? How was your day? Whatever, whatever. And that silent, quiet moment will change. Um, Getting into social media. might be a good thing, but it also doesn't heal because you don't get to talk about it. But finding someone in social media who talks about it and applying those things in your life helps a lot. So I just wanted to highlight that, and that was a very important part for me. Is when I hacked the brain and started being present, being intentional. Uh, it did not mean that I was uh, forgetting that, because the fear of 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 in grief, the biggest fear in grief and people who go through grief is this: that if you forget, if you heal, you're forgetting the person. If you heal from grief, you're forgetting your loved one. No, 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 it's not that. If you heal, you're actually doing what the loved one would have wanted you to do if you're alive. Like if you broke a leg, if I broke a leg, my dad would have wanted me to go to the hospital and get, the leg fixed. But if he's not there and they break a leg and I decide, yeah, my dad would have wanted not, I just wanted, yeah, my leg would probably be infected and whatever. So you have to do something for you that will help you remember them in good ways rather than in a traumatic way. So 2 years down the line, um, I lost a job. 2 years down the line, I lost. Uh, I stayed home. I made very different decisions. My friends were this, the kind of friendship I had changed. I learned to become my own authority. I learned to be that the buck stops now with me. I have to make adult decisions. Even at my age, I used to confer with my dad. Now I can call onto my heavenly Father for adult decisions whenever, you know. I learned to mind the gap and know that there's no more gap. It's direct. And with the loss of my dad, I did not want my children to lose a father, so I became a father to my children, knowing that they lost a grandfather. And because of choices like that, I realized that I'm leaving the legacy of my dad better. I realized that the man who he was and shaped me to be has helped me become someone that I am right now. Uh, the challenges that he faced, if I face them, I I have grown to a point of appreciating his decision makings and just laugh at some of the things that he used to do and appreciate that. And one of the things I've appreciated now is my dad loved music. He was a teacher of music. He would take sheet music and read it and write and teach people how to sing. I just realized my youngest daughter is a musician. She loves music. She does that. I realized because I became a dad to my own kids. It is a hard journey. I would not be. I'd be a liar if I said it's an easy walk in the park. It is not. Uh, it hits the nether parts of the heart and the deep parts of the brain. It leaves you exposed because for us as men, our dad was the back. You knew you always had a back. It leaves you highly exposed, and you feel like you always realize that there's no one behind. And honestly, one of the things that I, the thoughts that came through me when I was looking at my dad lying in his coffin, it's like, what a man, what a man, what a man. Yeah, what a man. And I think for me, um, I would have wanted to cry tears. And people tell me, Mesh, you have to cry tears. I don't know. No, tears is not for everyone. Some men cry, some women cry, some don't. Uh, I chose to celebrate him and fighting through grief, going through it was a fight, but at the other end, that fight is a celebration I gave him. And it gave me strength, and it made me decide to do manly things. And one of them was study for us a very hard certification that I did. Uh, Even though I lost a job and stayed with that job for a while, it did not make me less than a man. I was able to reach in deep and realize I'm not defined by my work. I'm not defined by whatever. I'm defined by who I am, my father's son. So from then I just came up and continued to build to become the man that he raised me to be. A reflection of himself, and growing to be a true son of my dad. Yeah. And I'm sitting here, brought my child to play, and I realized that's what men do, take care of their children. See you later. Bye.